Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what to do. Thank you. Thank you. We are so glad you're here. This is the last concert of the summer, and it is the all-march concert. And as you might expect in an all-march concert, we have to play a little bit of John Philip Sousa. We're going to open up, what? We're going to open up with The Thunderer. The hard part for me about the all-march concert is picking out which marches not to play. I could have had 300 really fabulous ones, and we've got 14, which is going to run a little over an hour, I believe. And so it might be dark when we get done, but it's so hard to leave any out, and what we have are really good stuff. I did get in a couple unusual ones, but we're going to continue now with one of the kings of marches, Carl King. Oh, they're doing the bump on me. Yeah, okay. But it's a less known one. It's called The Purple Pageant. We've got a number of marches in this band that are lesser known. This one is very well known, but the arranger-composer is Fuchik Lorandau, who was the composer or arranger of many of the marches we do that some bands don't ever have or see. This one is better known. It's called, what's the German name now? I'm trying to get the German, which I'm really bad at. Einzug der Gladiatoren, Entry of the Gladiators, or also known as Thunder and Blazes. And before we play it, I'd like to thank the State Farm Insurance Agency people who were here to bring us the free ice cream. We like that. And we have a contingent over there from Bassett Lake and Cadott Lake that have come down for the concert. So and the third really cool announcement, our much of the time librarian, although Todd Beta has taken it over for this year because of a pregnant librarian, Alyssa Sines came home from the hospital today with a new baby daughter. This is one way we get new city band members. I wanted to say a few things about the composer of this next piece, and my memory's not so good anymore, so my memory's right here now. Sammy Nestico, who was a really famous and really influential jazz teacher in the education system. He did a lot to get jazz bands going in the schools, and he was a veteran of the Charlie Barnett, the Tommy Dorsey bands, Woody Herman, Gene Krupa, and he played with them. And for 17 years, he was the main arranger for the Count Basie Orchestra. So you know a lot of his music. He also worked extensively with vocalists, working with them and making arrangements for them for Sarah Vaughan, Frank Sinatra, Barbara Streisand, and Tony Tennille. And he was the chief arranger for the Airmen of Note for the Air Force, moved to the Marine Band and directed the White House Orchestra for Presidents Johnson and Lyndon Johnson. And he made all kinds of arrangements for high school jazz bands. And he said, you want to make it so that the students say, boy, I like playing that. So we got a piece by him. All of that was to let you know this is a different kind of march. It's called a jazz march. And by Sammy Nestico, it's called Lookin' Good. Thankfully, the wind is mild tonight. You see us clothespinning our music on because it's really hard to play on one rehearsal if your music blows away, which has happened to all of us quite a few times. But these guys operate on one rehearsal, and it's fun. It's different every week. Anyway, I have a bit of history for you. Did you know that from 1913, January 1st, was the formation of the new U.S. Postal Service in its modern version? And pretty soon after that, there was a couple called the Bee Jews, an Ohio couple, paid 15 cents in postage to mail their newborn son to his grandmother's house half a mile down the road. And honestly, in those days, most people knew their postmen, and these deliveries, they usually walked the kids or carried them, and it was no problem. There were some pictures of kids in mail sacks, which was totally staged and faked. But there was a couple in 1915, the longest trip, a 6-year-old was sent 720 miles from Florida to Virginia, which cost them 15 cents. To my son, no, you can't do that anymore. They noticed in 1915 that people were said, hey, let's try this. I bet we can get away with it. I think there was a lot of trombone players in the society at that time, because they just, they figure out things to do that are fun and, game the system, whatever. Because of the timing of this, we're going to play for you a piece written in 1913, about the same time this stuff was happening, and written by, I think, a trombone player. Who would guess those things would go together? And it's one of the maybe 4 most popular marches in the world. It's called Barnum and Bailey's Favorite. Our next piece is a tribute to our military. Since it's an all-march concert and the military all have marching groups and many of the marches were written for them, maybe we ought to just do all of the themes of all the services. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. Who did I forget? Didn't I say that one? Okay. Anyway, we got themes from all of them in a piece called America's Finest.
Hi. John said earlier that this was the last concert. Well, this is the last concert for the Two Harbors City Band in their 125th year of playing. And we all know that the Two Harbors City Band is perhaps the longest continually playing city band in the state of Minnesota, or at very least the longest continually uniformed band in the state of Minnesota, something like that. But Two Harbors is also the home to something that is even maybe not quite as special in terms of longevity, but maybe in terms of uniqueness. Two Harbors hosts every year the Silver Creek International Ukulele Carnival. And this year will mark the 10th, because we don't count the COVID year, the 10th anniversary, the 10 consecutive festivals up at the Silver Creek Town Hall. You're all invited to go on our website, twoharborsukulele.com. An easy way to remember that is to think of the acronym for Two Harbors Ukulele Group. So give it a little thought, you'll figure that out. But when he said that it was the last concert, next Thursday night, same time, same place, or actually probably starting a half hour earlier at 7, we're going to have probably in excess of 100 ukulele players here in the park. We'll be putting on a concert with the Two Harbors Ukulele Group and some notables from Memphis and Colorado and the Twin Cities doing some solo work as the start of this year's festival. So check out the Two Harbors Ukulele Group.com and come on up and enjoy yourselves with us. Thank you.
A number of the city band people also play in the Thugs. I gave it away. Excuse me. Anyway, our next march was written by Captain Chester Whiting, and he was first the commander of the 110th Cavalry Band for the Massachusetts National Guard. Well, they got drafted as a group and became the 180th Field Artillery Band. And when they got sent to Guadalcanal, they got renamed the American Division Artillery Band. So the Americal Band, still directed by Captain Chester Whiting, suddenly had no playing to do because they were too busy fighting off malaria, scorpions, crocodiles, sharks, earthquakes, and artillery barrages and Japanese air raids. And they decided to go full bore on helping the Marines. So the Marines and the Army were working together on Guadalcanal for some months. And then these guys got shipped to Bougainville. And while they were there, Captain Whiting wrote this march in remembrance of their time together with the Marines. They called it Doughboy and Marine. So in remembrance of my dad and George McFarland Sr. and all the other Marines out there we know, and Roger Anderson is out here somewhere, there he is, who was in Vietnam as part of the Americal Division, the same group that had been all those years before helping out my dad's Marine buddies in Guadalcanal. Here's, dedicated to all of them, Doughboy and Marine.
It's a special occasion. I came out from hiding in the back row. As you can see, this is our 125th year. We didn't count 2020, so we're going to say we're still continuously operating. But I'd like to give you a little background about the band. We've got people, it's the Two Harbors City Band, but we have people coming from Duluth, we have people coming from Silver Bay, and we got a couple of long distance relationships going on with people from Woodbury, Lakeville, and the Twin Cities area. We've got 4 people coming from the Twin Cities to play with us, which is a pretty amazing feat. Also, yeah. And actually, once a year, we have a lady that comes here from England and plays French horn with us, which is kind of cool. Anyway, we have 2 families that have decided to occupy our stage. It started out with a guy coming in and playing, then he brought his 2 daughters, and then his mother showed up, and now his father showed up. So there's 5 of them from the same family on the stage here tonight and have been all summer. And we also have another family that decided to, yeah, very good. Another family that decided to come back, and there's 4 of them with us, although one of them's missing tonight. So that's pretty cool also. And I know it was pretty special when both my kids played with me on the stage for a couple of years. It's kind of cool to have the whole family up here. Our newest musician is hiding back in the back row, where it's the best place to be, I think, is the back row. We get a bad rap, but we have a lot of fun back there. Anyhow, the newest member, hiding behind the big silver tuba, is Max Kelly, who is the new high school band director starting this week. We also have 5 people that are either former or present band directors on stage here, so we've got a talented bunch. Now, to get to the nitty-gritty, the band is 125 years old. We have 5 people with 10 or more years. We have 5 people with more than 20 years, between 20 and 30 years. We have 4 people between 30 and 40 years. We have 1 person with 40 years, 1 person with 55 years, and 1 person with 61 years. And the 55 and the 61 are continuous. I'm not going to mention any names and then make anybody stand up. But it's pretty cool to think that somebody with 61 years has been here for almost half as long as the band's been in business. It's pretty amazing. So, music is a lifetime thing. I'll put a plug in for this. I know everybody's into sports these days, but when you can play an instrument for 70 years, and you can't play basketball for 70 years, and you can't play football or hockey for 70 years. So please, get your kids and your grandkids into music, and then they can enjoy that the rest of their life. Whether it's piano, an instrument, or singing, get them into music. Thanks very much. Oh, John, what'd you do that for? I got one more announcement that Al asked me to make, and that's United Church is having a simple supper again next Thursday before the ukulele thing. Thank you. What? Oh, I don't think so.
All right, and for all of that announcement, we're going to continue with what was Vaco England's favorite piece, And I think it was his favorite piece because it has both a really good flute part and a really good tuba part. And in his years with the city band, he played both. Rather unusual combination. There's a lot of stories about Vaco, but he's the guy who welcomed me and a number of the other youngsters into the band when we came in as kids back in 1967. And he was one of the old guys, but he was younger then than I am now. But Vaco was the guy who played with the city band, did not miss a single rehearsal or parade or concert in 54 years. And this was his favorite piece. So somewhere around this time of year, I like to always play the piece that goes with all that Jim had to say. It's called Old Comrades. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, and to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. We present for you the Boy Scouts of America March. I like to give you a on this day in history. I'll keep this one short. On this day in history in 1992, the Mall of America opened its doors for the first time. And in 1973, American Graffiti opened, directed and co-written by George Lucas, and this is the piece that launched the big screen career of Harrison Ford. George Lucas and Harrison Ford, from this success, then went on to produce and be part of Star Wars. So that's their history. Ours is, this band used to be a marching band, and in 1964 and 1968, we won the Open Championship at the Aquatennial Parade. 68, I remember very clearly because I was there. It was 104-degree heat. Our shoes were sticking to the newly repaired spots of the pavement, and you had to sometimes break ranks and run back and rip your shoe off the pavement and hobble back, put it on, and run back and get in place in line. And we still won, maybe partly because all of us made it to the end. We had all kinds of 60, 70, 80-year-old guys marching in the band, and the kids with their full wool jackets and these big furry top hats, high-stepping, were dropping like flies. The aid stations had 2 or 3 at every single block. Our 80, 70, 60, 70, 80-year-old guys wearing these short-sleeve shirts and doing a military marching walk instead of the stupid high-stepping. We all made it to the end. But we won the Open Championship, and we did it playing this march, the General Douglas MacArthur March. The next one is by another once well-known march composer. I don't think he's as famous anymore today as he was in his own day, but Walter Finlayson. And this piece kind of fits with The Thunderer and Thunder and Blazes, and this title is called Storm King. And notice we're braving the weather, but we beat it. We're teasing it, and it didn't come and get us for doing this. So the Storm King is next. We're going to end our concert with two more Sousa pieces. This first of the last two, is that a sensible way to say it, is an arrangement by Frederick Fennell, because in the day Sousa was doing things, they had D-flat piccolo parts and alto horn parts that nobody plays anymore, and E-flat horn parts and things. So now we have F horn parts for the French horns and C parts for the flutes and piccolos, and somebody has to arrange it so it's playable for the modern band. But this piece is for the Cincinnati, Ohio National Guard Troop A Cavalry, which had all black horses, and Sousa himself referred to as the Black Horse Troop. And they invited him, and he often did go riding with them. Sousa was a horse lover, and he loved riding horse. And our tuba player, Brian Johnson, who's taking care of his wife with the recent heart operation, and she's fine, she's doing well, but he's not here because of that. But he informed me that it was riding horse that Sousa broke his arm, and he couldn't raise it up here anymore. So Sousa did all of his directing like this, after he got his arm thoroughly broken, riding a horse. Frederick Fennell, with the backup of several other music publishers who were at the premiere concert of this in 1925, confirms that indeed, for the premiere, the first concert, the entire Black Horse Troupe did ride their horses up on stage and stand at attention on their horses behind the band as this piece was played. So use your imaginations, and the Black Horse Troupe is here by John Philip Sousa. All right, I'm going to be 2 minutes over. My goal was to have this be an hour and 10-minute concert. I think we're going to get by with an hour and 11 or 12. We're going to close with probably the world's most famous march, also by John Philip Sousa, and this one is played by bands in Portugal, Spain, Brazil, Japan, Russia, Ukraine. People everywhere have bands that are really good band. By the way, Spain has some band festivals and competitions. They've got some really good bands over there. They play this all the time. We're going to close with, and we thank you all for coming and being here faithfully with us all summer. We'll end our concert with The Stars and Stripes Forever.
Hey, John, it's 125 years old, mention that.
Jim's reminding me, not only is the band 125 years, this is the 125th anniversary of The Stars and Stripes Forever. So no doubt it was us who inspired Susan to write it. But that's my story. Thank you so much for being here, for being with us for this final concert of the band. And yes, please do come back next week for the ukulele concert. Thank you so much.